Yeah, so I just saw a second episode of She-Hulk, and what can we learn from it? I think this is more relevant than normal, but I always say filmmaking, it's a language. Storytelling is a language. It's not just for some, it's for anybody that wants to participate in it, but you gotta work on it. You gotta work on your fluency, and it's a sort of an ongoing quest for fluency, but the idea that only some can do it is not correct. That's where I'm at. Let's do the She-Hulk look. This is the same as I already did an episode, so it's the same look. Let me cliff note you the episode that I already did about this. It is linked below, but whatever. I basically praised it for the first episode for being an attempt to do something unique in what is inherently an established property. And so basically I was talking about the idea that my preference is always unique and new ideas. Although most unique new ideas fail, so you need a lot of them for any of them to have a chance. And so, this show sort of splits the difference because yes, it's a unique idea by its nature, but it is in the sort of like safe intellectual property territory that is Marvel itself. So yeah, do with that what you will. And then I basically said I can't get anything from this first episode because it's a premise pilot. It's having to do premise stuff. So, although it's establishing the world, there's not really a good understanding of character or story or sort of the tone of the show or just a standard episode of the show. So that's why I went in for episode 2 to even really have that discussion. And now that I have, some of the stuff I suspected ended up being confirmed, unfortunately. But I think the easiest way to say it is, although second episode and probably the further episodes along are a significant improvement over just the mess that was the first episode, it's got a writing problem. It's just that the story's not working. The characters are not working. To the credit, the second episode actually told what I consider to be more or less a cohesive, complete story, which kudos. But the rest of it, it's too messy, and it's of a level of quality that Marvel is not usually known for, because if anything, Marvel, at least until recently, has been known for having really bulletproof storytelling, really well thought out, really polished scripts, really polished stories. I'm a big believer that the script is the first indicator of whether or not the story you're trying to tell even has a chance. So if the script has gone through the workshopping or the revisions or the rewriting process, the writer's room, for instance, on a TV show, to get all the speed bumps out of the way, get all the mistakes out of the way, and get the quality up to, undeniable, a 10, the production has a chance to actually make its way up and match that. And you have the capacity of the show being a 10. However, if the show and the script itself it's just full of plot holes, it's a mess, there's character motivations facing the wrong way, all that kind of stuff, and it's a 2, best chance for production is a 2 or a 3 at most. I'd say probably a 2. Yeah, the story's not working. The tone's not working. I had a manager early on in my career tell me, if you're going to tell people what you're writing is comedy and there's no jokes in it, I'm not laughing, you've failed. By that logic, that's an additional risk. I'm not passing judgment just because I didn't laugh doesn't mean other people didn't or other people did. But that's something to consider too. Does their target demographic laugh at what they're saying is a comedy? I think that's an interesting question to ask. Yeah, but it's just the low quality of the writing is hampering what they're doing, and so I'm good after episode 2. If you have a message in a show, if your creative thing has a message, yeah, it's not my preference. I don't like being told what to do. I kind of gravitate away from stuff with a message inherently, but that's fine. I recognize that some stuff has a message. I think you're writing yourself into a corner a bit when you have a message that you're overtly trying to push. I ended up finding a pretty good example of a message working in something, and that is J.R.R. Tolkien, the works of the great writer. Caveat, asterisk, he was one of the greats, so that's not fair, but he had an ideology, he had a point of view, and he put it into his stuff, but he put it in indirectly. It was metaphor, it was indirect, it was reference, it was, not telling you get on my level or go away. And it worked. You know, if you read it with his ideology, you got it. If you didn't, you still got it. You know, not his ideology, but just a satisfying story. So, yeah. And, you know, I think the great tragedy of something that has a message and that specifically has positioned itself as representative of a social, you know, social change, especially a social change of the guard, is when it fails, the bad faith argument is it's because of what they were trying to accomplish with all this other stuff that has nothing to do with the writing and the production, and becomes a pariah. You know, it is what it is. I'm done with She-Hulk. I look forward to other projects the writers work on post She-Hulk because, you know, they didn't get hired for nothing. So, but as far as what She-Hulk is, I'm not interested. I think Tatiana Maslany and especially Ginger Gonzaga, whose career I've followed since she was on that clip show The Morning After on Hulu, they're awesome. They crush it. But, you know, you can only do as good as the material. And when the material is below a standard set by the company itself, and in fact, that's unfortunate. So what do you guys think? Am I just a stinky boy with bad ideas, or is this actually a nuanced take on the real problems of a show that's having growing pains? Like, what do you think? See you when I'm not green.